What is going on, guys? So here you have with me the Timemore Fish Smart Electric Kettle. I know it's a mouthful, but in this video we're going to discuss it and see if this is the most value for money kettle that you can get on the market in 2023. Let's go. Hey guys, so I'm Josh, I'm a coffee roaster here in Malaysia, and let's dive into the video. Let's first discuss about the price. So the price of this kettle right here starts at 325 ringgit or 90 US dollars. The price alone, basically it wins, right? Hands down. Now, let's discuss about the features of this particular kettle. So, if we look at the base right here, the base is pretty slick. It's really nice, it's buttonless, except for the top here where you have your on-off switch, right? This on-off switch is pretty nice in that you can just turn on and off your kettle from the back. And then if you look on top in the front, you have two buttons here. They're not physical buttons, they're just touch buttons, just like the Timemore scale. Here you have the activate and deactivate mode. And this one, you have your on or your hold temperature or hold button, right? If this is on display, meaning it will reach its particular temperature that you set, let's say 95, and it will stay there and hold the temperature, right, for some time, right? So this is pretty useful for those of you who want your kettle to be at the same temperature for more than 10, 20, 30 minutes, right? This achieves that. Now, the way you adjust the temperature right here, it starts from 40 degrees Celsius all the way to 100 degrees Celsius. And as far as I know, that this unit here only comes in degrees Celsius. So for those of you who are using Fahrenheit, I think you got to catch up with the time, right? So anyway, enough said. The way you adjust the temperature right here is this touchpad right here. James Hoffman says that you have to stroke, right? Kind of stroke the base here, or whatever you would think about it. It's up to you. But the thing that I find that is pretty annoying, that is not very intuitive, is that when you try to set your temperature to a particular setting, particularly right now, say for example, I'm at 95. I want to go to 94, let's say, right? And if I touch that base, it's really hard to achieve the temperature that you want to set because you kind of have to like finagle around. See, it's 94, right? So it's not very intuitive, right? You kind of have to get used to it. There's some learning curve, and also even then, sometimes it takes you some time before you reach that temperature. Now, these are just minor grips, right, that I have with this kettle. The kettle itself is pretty nice. If you look at the lid right here, I know James Hoffman complains about the lid, but I think it's a pretty nice lid. It goes in and out seamlessly. It has a tight seal on it. It's all metal. The nice thing about internally inside, it also has a minimum and maximum light, which is pretty useful. It tells you how much you should fill your kettle with. And then all the construction of it is pretty much metal, right? Now let's move on to its capacity. Over here you have with me is a 600 milliliter kind of capacity. It has a 600 milliliter or an 800 milliliter. And it comes in two different colors. Right here you have with me the black, the jet black. And then you have the pearl white, right? So there are two different colors and two different types of capacity. Now, for most people, I think 600 milliliters is good enough for you. You can make 1 to 2 cups of coffee. But if you're a person that makes 4 to 5 cups of coffee, right, maybe a bigger capacity would suit you better. Now, let's discuss about the heating time, right? The heating time of this, if your water here is at 25 degrees Celsius, which is generally about room temperature, and you would heat it up all the way to 95 degrees Celsius, it takes about 2 minutes to 2.5 minutes. So with regards to that, to us, it's not the fastest and it's also not the slowest. It's sufficient enough, it's quick enough for me to grind my coffee, to wet my filter paper, right, and to put my coffee or grounds into the V60 or whatever equipment that I'm using at that time. And by then, my temperature will be set, right? So I will always boil the tempered water first before grinding my coffee and doing all sorts of things, because by the time it will finish, I will also be done with the other part of the work. So it's pretty okay for me, right? It's not the quickest, but it's also not the slowest. Now, the other downside about this is that I think what Timemore tries to do is that, let's say for example, it takes a pretty long time to reach your set temperature. What do I mean by this is that, let's say for example, I'm setting my set temperature to be at 95 degrees. As soon as it's 3 to 4 degrees before your set temperature, it struggles. It takes a long time before it reaches to 95 degrees, right? Now, from 25 degrees all the way to 90 degrees, it takes really fast, right? It takes less than a minute. But then the other minute is basically waiting for that just small difference in temperature from 90 to 95, right? Or wherever you set that temperature at. Because I think the way it works is, as soon as it's about to reach the temperature 3 to 4 degrees before the set temperature, it turns on the heating element, right, for like 3 to 4 seconds, and then it turns it off again. And then later on, it turns it on. After 10 seconds, it turns it on again, and then it turns it off again. So it's just incrementally trying to reach your set temperature. I think the way Timemore designed it, maybe they didn't want it to overheat and overreach, the set temperature, right? So that's why they were maybe programmed it to be a bit more cautious. And I think that's one of the improvements that Timemore can make, right, on their grinders, right? It doesn't necessarily have to take that much of the time. So that's one gripe that I have with this particular cattle, not grinder. I keep saying grinder, I'm not sure why, right? This cattle here, it's just value for money, right? With just $90 or 325, I think you can get this suitable for 90 to 95% of the use cases out there, right? Even for us, we have been using it for 2 years now, and we really like it. I mean, we have the fallow stack and also the barista. We just use it interchangeably, and I'm not very particular with the cattle that I use, right? As long as it gives me the flow control that I want, I'm more than satisfied now. So what about you? Do you think that you'll be using this grinder or this cattle? Right, let us know down in the sections below, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.